Hey everyone, so today's fanfiction will cover something I've been wanting to do. It's what if Obi-Wan never went to Mustafar? I think there are so many different possibilities here that we could theorize on since Obi-Wan snuck onto Padme's ship. So let's try to see what would have happened if he just didn't go to the planet altogether. I know in some fanfictions I like to stray away off the storyline while others are action-packed. I'm going to try and make this one as realistic as I can to the storyline and what the characters would do in each situation had they gone differently. So assuming Obi-Wan spoke with Padme and their discussion led to the same dialogue where she hears that her husband had murdered younglings and turned against the Jedi, we know pretty much right after this she got up and sped away to meet Anakin on Mustafar. Let's assume, for a moment, for this video's sake, Obi-Wan sticks with today's story, which would be to respect her wishes to not be followed. If he used his judgment, he would have known better than anyone that following her there and showing up unannounced would only infuriate Anakin even more in his most imbalanced state, making him want to beat his chest in front of Padme and cause a huge dramatic scene where he goes into a blacked out rage and possibly endangering her life, which is exactly what happened. If Obi-Wan never went to Mustafar, Padme would go to meet Anakin and the conversation would continue to go the same route it did, where she would tell him to run away with her and raise their child on Naboo. This would be met with Anakin telling her that they don't have to run, that he can overthrow the Emperor, and that they can rule the galaxy together. While of course he was still in a massive level of fight or flight after everything he had done, he did begin to slowly internalize the thought of leaving with her. Now on a side note guys, this part isn't so much fanfiction, rather more so fact, as if we refer to the book The Rise of Darth Vader, he reminisces about this exact moment, mentioning how he was trying to explain to her everything that was going on and then leaving with her until Obi-Wan showed up, ruining and changing everything, fueling his rage. Padme would tell Anakin that what he did was not right, where he would then tell her how the Jedi had been plotting to kill the Chancellor and constantly denied him the rank of Master, which would have allowed him access to the restricted section and thus the knowledge to save her without turning to Palpatine. As they continued to argue, their love for one another would only grow stronger in the fear of losing each other with all that has happened. Padme would turn and dramatically run away from Anakin. She gets into her ship and speeds off into the distance. Doing the same, he follows her throughout the galaxy when they come before a beautiful green and blue planet. He knew where she was taking them. Landing back at the palace on Naboo, where they shared their first kiss, Anakin got out of his ship to the sounds of birds gently soaring over the waveless lake. Hit with flashes of when he was still a Padawan, when she looked so beautiful at the pier, and when he mentioned his hatred for sand. Moving to grab her arm, he could see the pain that he caused her. Maybe the path that he was following was wrong. Look at everything he had done. He had destroyed the life that he had known, the life he swore to protect. This place, however, had already helped him forget. It helped him come back to his center, back to his Jedi training to keep a level head. Flashes of younglings and all those he had killed appeared before his eyes, swaying back and forth as if he were on a rocky ship, his eyes flickering orange and turning to their normal blue. "What have I done?" he shouted as he collapsed on the floor as Padme and her servants put him on the sofa to rest. Waking up just moments later, he went outside to stand in the same spot he did all those years ago. When he had nightmares of his mother, meditating, he remembered who he was and caught the reflection of his eyes in the water. This wasn't him. This was not Anakin Skywalker. This was what Palpatine wanted him to become. He had to change, but was it too late? Anakin had been manipulated. Padme knew it, he knew it, and so did Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan? He wondered if his old master was still alive. Going to his ship, he tried to contact him. Receiving a weak signal, Master Kenobi answered in a cry.
"Anakin, what have you done?"
Looking down at the console, he knew now what he did. The temper and rage had subsided. Anakin was with Padme. She was safe. It was all he ever wanted.
"Master, I must find you. I must fix what I've done. Anakin, you've destroyed everything. You must be stopped, even if I have to do it myself." "I understand, my master. I have betrayed the Jedi and you. I'm by the lake on Naboo. We must stop the Emperor before it's too late. Anakin, come to Coruscant immediately. I sense Master Yoda is in trouble."
Without a moment's hesitation, Anakin set his ship for Coruscant, waving to Padme who ran out to stop him. There was no time for that. Anakin's rage was returning. It was Palpatine all along. He manipulated him all these years, pulling each string with such charm and masterful politics. He was the true threat behind everything from the start, including Padme's assassination attempts. Meeting Obi-Wan at the old Jedi Temple, his eyes flowed with tears as he saw the dead bodies scattered outside. This was his doing. "Anakin, we don't have time." As they sped to Palpatine, they could feel the raw power of the two most powerful Force users in the known galaxy, exploding with energy with every moment that passed. Entering the office, they saw the Senate floor had opened, where they could hear laughter and lightning crackle from way above. Jumping to the Senate Stadium to see pod after pod spinning and being hurled at two figures so far in the distance, they could only be made out by the color of their lightsaber.
Come, Anakin, we must get to the top.
Using the Force to leap bounds up the Senate as a lightning blast burst with energy, sending Yoda and Sidious in opposite directions. As Yoda looked up, he saw the outstretched hand of Obi-Wan, while Anakin stood next to him. Getting to his feet, he pushed Anakin into the Senate pod, away from them with such force it would have killed a regular person. Getting up from the shock, Anakin pleaded for Yoda to forgive him, as Obi-Wan looked at the Green Master and nodded in approval.
Your fate, later determined will it be.
As they all looked up and saw 20 Senate pods raised and spinning, Darth Sidious, ruler of the galaxy, laughed to the sky. The sound of multiple lightsabers all ignited in unison.
Face your darkness, I will. Master without a Jedi order.
Alrighty guys, let me know how you want part 2 to go for this one. I'm thinking there should be a death to make it a little more realistic, but I'll leave that part for you to decide. Comment below your ending and I'll get started on that for you all. I wasn't sure exactly what direction to take this one. However, I knew that if we're gonna have a light side ending, then Anakin needs to turn back to the light, and the only way he'd do that is through Padme's doing, of course. Thank you for watching today's fanfiction, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Star Wars Theory. Until then, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends, remember,
The Force will be with you always.